Hi, have you ever suffered from self-judgment? Welcome to the Sensual Sessions with Clare Maxwell, where we will discuss how sensuality can help you to get free from self-judgment. Welcome, Clare.
Hey, so
Hey,
great to be here.
yeah, it's an honor to have you at the Sensual Sessions.
Oh,
Clare
yeah.
is an expert on Alexander technique and a dancer. So tell us a little bit about how judgment affects the body and what can we
Mm.
do about it.
Well, I would say the first thing to do about it is to get curious.
Yes, get curious.
Yeah. So when I say that word curious, my whole body just softened a little bit.
Huh.
It's like a little tingly.
Let's get curious.
But yeah, just get curious. So, um, in general, curiosity or wonder is not always so easy to get to because in order to be curious, we have to feel safe
Yes, yes.
and we need to feel, oh, okay, I know where all the exits are. I can
Okay.
explore. This person doesn't intimidate me. And so, all of those, you listening, Candia and I had to talk to each other just a little bit before we started
Yes.
because uh, she's in Mexico City. I'm in Brooklyn, New York.
New York.
We have enjoyed talking before, um, but we needed to just kind of vibe with each other a little bit before we could really feel safe and comfortable to explore.
Get curious.
And sometimes that's a little clumsy. So if it, the curious mind, I sometimes use the word stupid brain.
Stupid brain.
Yeah, like explore this or that with your stupid brain, which it means that your stupid brain doesn't know the answer.
Okay. And
Yeah,
that is expected to fail or not be perfect. Like,
yeah,
don't do it with your specialist high level elite brain. Do it with your stupid brain.
your stupid brain. She already failed, so she's happy, you know.
Yeah,
She
yeah,
doesn't have to succeed. All of that stuff, the all the stuff that was brought up on one of your business sessions,
yeah,
succeeding in the capitalist world,
yeah,
looking good, your body, all that outward facing stuff,
yes,
you know, but it's there. So the second thing I would say about that quality of us that that judges,
yes,
it's very important.
yes,
you know, um, we have a very complex brain and it likes to recognize patterns. It's there to protect us. It wants to take care of us. And it's highly evolved to assess, compare, judge, etc. So let's just be friendly to it. It's going to do that. So
that's the job.
we just get curious about it. Huh? Is
Well,
that really true? Is that judgment really true? Huh. How does that judgment feel in my body?
very interesting because to me, I feel like expansive because it gives me like a reframe from judgment to discernment,
Mm,
and it gives me the feel of more space to get curious on what's going on instead of bearing the weight of judgment on an imposition that comes without you having like or being in the state for responding to that, if it's even possible to respond, because sometimes judgment comes very, it's from irrational expectations that are close to the fantasy, and it in the
Especially with pleasure, right?
especially with pleasure.
I mean, I have to be honest with you. The
Yes.
whole idea, it took me like a couple of weeks to get comfortable, actually, with
Yes.
the idea of doing a podcast on pleasure,
On
you know,
pleasure.
which is ridiculous because I have so much pleasure in my life. But
Yeah.
I'm like, I wonder what that means. Does that mean I have to be sexy? What does that mean? That's my, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Because of the judgment. And that's one of the things that I think we all should get curious about, of what does pleasure means to us and sensuality. And I've also struggled on how to present this to the audience, maybe like lingerie and a certain, but that's like a construct that is super connected to judgment. And I think the very interesting thing is about finding the answer of what pleasure means to Claire, to Candia, to you in the audience.
Mm.
What means pleasure to you, and what is
Mm-hmm.
sensuality for you? And hopefully, this element of curiosity helps you put judgment a little bit aside or very far away so you can explore and find the answers within instead of expectations. And this is for me a constant challenge on how should I look to be sensual. But wait a minute, shouldn't be the other way around? Like you're having an experience of sensing pleasure in your body, and that is being seen and perceived, and it's like a rippling consequence of your experience. So tell us more about how can we deal with judgment.
Well, I thought quite a lot about this as I was thinking about speaking with you. I think the best thing for us to do is to use it to our advantage. So we have a discerning um, nervous system.
Yeah.
So in my work, I'm trained as an Alexander teacher. And because I came from dance, a lot of, although it's not part of traditional Alexander work, or it wasn't the original work, was not anatomical. He didn't talk about anatomy. He didn't talk about specific bones or muscles or anything.
Wow, super interesting,
No.
because the experience is, well, it's the body, but
Well, yeah. But embodiment as a word at that time did not exist. This is 100 years ago. You
ago.
know,
Yeah.
he was born in 1869. So he started doing his work pretty young at the
Yeah.
turn of the century
Yeah.
in the late 1800s. And what he was known for was improving people's breathing and the resonance of their voice in their body.
Nice.
So that was his initial marketing hook. And in those days, there were no microphones. I'm getting way off subject, but I'll try to bring it back.
Yeah.
There were no microphones.
They
And
needed the
so,
potency of the voice to be, oh, I get goosebumps.
yeah.
Yeah,
And,
because
and
that's
actually,
powerful.
the resonance of the body itself was your resonator because you did
Yes.
not have equipment
No, it was
to amplify.
a cappella power.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so the volume of your voice and the clarity of your words, if you were a public speaker, was very important.
Yes.
And so what he started working with was his own reactivity to public speaking, the
Wow.
fear of public speaking,
Wow.
and how it affected him, and how he got all tight and he threw his head back, and then he started to see that the answer was in embracing the reactivity and
Okay.
beginning to calm it down. So it was the idea of speaking, the judgments about what it was
Yes.
that was causing all the problem.
Aha, all the disconnection in the organization of the body and the sensations,
Yeah,
and to our subject sensuality.
yeah. And so
Maybe.
his ability to feel his body, what he realized was that he thought his body was free, but that his sense of his body had gotten completely hijacked. He was a man in a colonial culture, where men were taught that to be male was militaristic, and
Stiff.
yeah, and so he was lifting his chest and pumping it forward and tightening his back. And actually, people are still doing this today.
Thinking that will get a manly result, but interestingly,
Or that somehow your chest should be open, but what about the back of your chest? Now
that's
it's like
fully
totally like,
closed,
yeah,
closed, closed.
totally closed.
It's like, okay, I am like hunchback, but at the same time, like my heart is super open on the back.
Yeah.
So it's very interesting how the idea of how one should be actually in jails the true beingness in you and your ability to perform. Because if you're like this, it's gonna be very difficult to carry a log or whatever true man does, like from cavemen.
Yeah, it's not going to work. It's not going to make you strong.
No,
No.
it's not good for a punch either, because you lack your responsiveness. Judgment affects
So anyway, that was a little bit of a journey
contextual.
back in time, but we live in a different time now, and
But we
so
suffer from exactly the same. That is like the fantasy of the projection of a happening that affects the way you organize yourself and affects your performance. Say, my example of taking a selfie, that today I look very good here on camera and or in the mirror, and I am gonna take a selfie. And as soon as I become aware that I am going to take a selfie, somehow I get distracted from the feeling and the experience of myself that makes me lose the enjoyment, the sense of pleasure in me that ultimately was to be seen or captured by the picture. And then the selfie picture captures a pose, an appearance, a pretense, not a true expression. And that's actually what I am so happy that I am sharing here with the audience, that I found Clare that knows what to do about it. I didn't know how to pinpoint even. I was just suffering from this self-judgment.
well, actually, you were suffering from your awareness
Yeah.
of what happens to you
Yeah.
when that kind of thinking kicks in. And so what this does is the most amazing thing, which is it reveals the lack of separation between what we call mind and what we call body.
Yes.
As your
Yes.
brilliant guest said, we are this living being in process.
Yes.
There
Yes.
is no mind talks to the body. But somehow, because we have this really complex system, I think that does express something about our reality. And so what I was going to say was that Alexander's work has been we're now in like generation 8 or 9 of teachers, and many people have taken this brilliant work and woven it in, been influenced by other things. And in the dance world, a lot of what was woven in was this deep knowledge that you and I have talked a little bit about, of muscles and bones. And then in that idiokinesis, which
Yeah.
was created to help injured dancers kind of rehab their brain's connection to their body so that they could repattern and not re-injure themselves,
Yeah.
right? So instead of just fixing the injury, they wanted to go deeper into the system. And where they were going with the imagery was into what we call the brain or the imagination.
Working right from the source and
Yeah.
really getting curious about different ways of being.
Instead of different ways of doing, because the doing is the motor activity and the being is the state from which the motor activity arises, happens, and then it settles back down into the being.
Yes.
And it's so there's a cycle of activity. And that's what the Alexander technique really is. It's like a process loop from the imagination through the energy that's sent through the nervous system into the tissues. And after that message is sent, you get sensation that feeds back into that tells you, oh, that was a great thing to think. That feels
Yes.
awesome.
Yes.
Or that really sucked.
Yes. Yes.
Right? So you can learn to use that loop to your advantage. So you take the judgmental mind, but
Yes.
you don't put it at the beginning, you put it at the end. And you use that to generate another more constructive thought, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, another more constructive thought because uh, with these insights on ideokinesis and imagination, it made me think that self-judgment and like all the narrative that, oh yes, I am gonna take this selfie of me and then my ex-boyfriend is gonna regret so much all his or whatever story that
He's going to
everybody.
see how good I look and he's going to be so sad.
Yeah, and he's gonna be come back begging and I am gonna kick or whatever. Like, no, I am in Paris, so my colleagues will see more value in me, and then I will get more involved in the projects of in the board meetings or etc. Whatever fantasy of agenda, it's also
Yes.
imagination. So what's fascinating about what you're sharing with us is how the Alexander technique takes this imagination, self-judgments, narrative, whatever that is getting on the way of you doing what you want to do, like expressing your desire in this context, sensual pleasure expression. Take that judgment and process it and flip it around.
Mm. And it's so easy to do. It just
Really?
takes a little bit of time. Yeah, it's amazing. So I will give you
Yes.
one of the first processes that I use.
Yes.
I call these awareness preludes.
Awareness
Preludes.
prayers or preludes?
Preludes, like music.
Prelude. Yeah.
Yeah.
Preludes. Yeah, my Spanglish is still still exotic, but learning to
Yeah, it's difficult too because when you speak in idioms, it doesn't translate so well.
yeah.
So,
Prelude
so it's like we
awareness.
assume that everybody knows even how to tap into their own pleasure or pay attention to themselves. But for many people, when you say, become aware of your body, It is not a pleasant experience.
It is not a pleasant experience.
No, it's
There's
not pleasant.
judgment and bad experiences and trauma and I feel,
Or even just tension.
yeah, yeah,
Like if you check into your body right now, a healthy nervous system, it will give you information about where the problems are. So there's this general field of ease and pleasure, but the tension sticks out.
yeah, it's like the red lights also for survival. And I think we are like socially allowed to talk about our bodily experience in a context of pain, like, oh, I have a stomach ache, or I am so tired from the workout, or I suck at this when I do that. And it's not very like welcome to talk about how good you're feeling about something, about how grateful you are for your pumping heart, endlessly pumping blood to every faraway cell of your body nonstop since you began. And that's
It's amazing,
it's,
right?
it's amazing what is
So
going
what
on.
if we were just to sit here together, like, and I said to you, we could just go back and forth. This is one form of what I call your ease o meter.
Is
So
here.
for
Oh,
your podcast, we change it to sensuality o meter.
visual meter.
Yeah, so I'm just going to share with you that right now, although, yeah, there's a little bit of a sensual feeling around my heart.
Yes.
There's tension elsewhere, but around my heart, I can feel that pleasure. And
Yes.
so now you.
I can feel it too around my heart and in my belly. My belly is like in a not only in a good mood. It feels good. It feels
Mm.
good. It's very challenging because my awareness goes directly to my tense neck and my low back and my
Uh-huh.
jaw. But no,
Yeah.
the my belly is soft, feels good, it's pleasurable. And
Uh-huh.
yes, indeed, around the heart, there's a pleasurable sense of tenderness. Well, it's actually softening my shoulders as I speak. Very interestingly.
Yes. And then here's the thing is that just is transitory
Yes,
because it's a loop. Sensuality is transitory and it changes.
yes,
So then we let that, so that was just a little use of our brain, which is part of our nervous system,
yeah,
to say, I'm curious. My stupid brain is curious about pleasure right now. What
yes,
if it didn't have to be like something, like that somebody else tells me? What if I was asking my own body, what's pleasurable to you right now in this moment? Like right now, I'm getting this pleasurable sense in the webbing of my thumbs. That part of it's like, and then it goes. So there's a little bit of rigor. Our nervous system is like, I've been comparing it lately to your immune system.
yes,
It needs something to chew on.
yes.
And if it doesn't have something to chew on, it will make trouble. It will say, she's in a bacteria-free environment, but we need to fight something. So we'll make her allergic to milk, or
Oh
we'll
no,
make her
yeah,
allergic
yeah,
to, we'll
yeah,
find an allergy,
yeah,
just so we can. So it's a conscious decision. And this is very helpful, especially when you have pain or an old injury or something that's very present. You don't have to get rid of it. You don't have to
yeah,
heal it. You just say, well, is there some pleasure somewhere else that maybe could come in?
yeah. And that is working, being in the present, like not waiting for the injury to go away or your bad colleague to get fired or you to lose weight or to gain weight or to whatever so you can enjoy pleasure. No,
No, it's right now.
it's right now. And it has we can give it the same priority, or we actually prioritize pleasure over the obsession of, of pain or problems or conflicts, that those only go away tending to them, like doing something about it. And actually, I think actually pleasure supports the organization of what's working properly, that will help you overcome challenges or injuries.
Yes, it does. So if you were to characterize some of the things that are happening in your tissues,
Yes.
if you can just drop that question in again, if you think, okay, so what is that actually happening for me right now in my feet, for instance? Well, I just pulled out of my feet, so now it's happening in my hands. It's a little bit of a spreading.
Yes.
So when you talk about posture, right?
Yes.
A posture is an adaptable, fluid relationship to the earth. When we are bunching, we pull up off the earth. And when we are in pleasure, we soften a little bit and we have more, a softer contact with the support.
We we are more effective in being supported or aligning to be supported gravitatorily
Gravitatorily.
gravitatorily instead
Yes.
of pretending to be as supportive as the earth and holding on to ourselves, which is
Yes.
as if we could.
We can't we are creatures of the earth in the most basic way. And that is the core of our pleasure.
Yes.
Everything in every cell in our body, every muscle, every bone has evolved over millions of years in this beautiful, loving relationship with gravity. And everything is good. And then we get these ideas about what we should be. And they fill our nervous system. But
Yeah.
now, if you practice this isometer, and you don't want to practice a lot,
Okay.
just a little bit. You can do 5 minutes a day. Or imagine what would happen if we sat in with 4 friends for 10 minutes and just shared around a circle. This is feeling pleasurable in my body right now.
Yeah. Yeah. Because
Oh,
it
then it catches.
yeah, what feels pleasurable in you, it's like, oh, I can relate to that. And it's also a very important way of nurturing connections, sustaining relations that are not only through the dialogue of complaint, but that have like the dynamics of pleasure and joy in the body and the joy of sharing.
That is brilliant what you just said. It really is. Because there is a culture of complaint.
Yes.
And there is a lot to complain about. There is a lot to be afraid of.
Yes.
Yeah. So, bit by bit, we can change these habits and create a different culture.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's very vulnerable to
Yeah.
share your pleasurable self.
Yes.
Can we really do this across the lines that divide us? Class lines, gender lines, race, what we call race, which
Yeah.
is this ridiculous thing that doesn't even exist except for in our mind.
No, we
But the
have all the same
idea of it is
DNA.
so powerful and so pervasive that
Yes.
it permeates every institution we have. So how are we going to build the energy to undo these things?
Yeah.
The vulnerability to
The
undo these
vulnerability
things.
and oh, more goosebumps. Yeah, in feeling what the other person feels. Empathy.
Empathy.
I also feel the warmth and the softness around the chest. And oh, that your experience informs my experience. And the interesting in this easiometer, curiosity, stupid brain practice is
Hmm.
that is it it builds on the essence of life that is health, and it's this restorative and creative ability. Like we have just paid attention on what works well in the body through the easiometer, sensuometer, and my alignment it's much better, and the depth of our dialogue, and I hope that for our audience too, went to a deeper and more refined level and powerful. So I think it's very important to be more aware and discerning on your experience, and that we use the tools we have, the easiometer 5 minutes a day minimum. No, but not too much, only 5 minutes. And
Yeah,
it.
just, when you get up in the morning, if you can just take 5 minutes just sitting in your kitchen, turn off the radio, get rid of your phone, sit there while your tea is steeping and just ask 4 times, I wonder where there's a little bit of pleasure in my body right now.
The earlobe.
It's great. It could come from anywhere, you
Yeah,
know?
like the nose, it's pleasurable. And
Yes.
it's fascinating how this sets you up. I don't know if that's the word. Sets a state, a disposition for you to go on to problem solve whatever you need to do at your work. It's a it's a more effective way to actually take action on the pains and complaints instead of dwelling in the pain and the complaint. That sometimes we just fall into that loop of of dwelling in the problems, and we cannot do much from that state of self-judgment. So self-judgment doesn't solve the what the judgment is blaming about, and it doesn't support pleasure either, so it's kind of useless. Well, it helps. It's, as I understand of with what you share, it's a mechanism that is there and it's very helpful. Like there's a problem, but pointing at the problem, it's just that it's not solving the problem. And this like self-awareness through through what's really sustaining you, health, pleasure, and the fire of aliveness that is sensuality, can really be put into a solution if we are into problem solving. Yeah, so
Yes, and so problem solving is what your nervous system is designed for. But the base of all problem solving, and this is a radical thing to say, is this sensuality, this
yes,
literally the felt experience of yourself and the physicality of it, which is nonverbal, present moment, easily accessible at all times unless you're really under stress, um, is what you want to learn to rest your problem solving mind into,
yes,
so that when you're under more stress, if you build it up, it's a nonverbal skill.
Yes.
then it comes in when you need it, right? So Alexander called that end gaining, all of the problem solving in future when you don't even know, how am I going to pick up the phone? He said the most important thing is the next thing you're going to do, not the fifth thing you're going to do. What
Yes.
your boyfriend is going to. The next important thing is, where is the ease in my body as I reach for the phone? I haven't even touched it. Oh, now I'm touching it. That feels nice.
Yeah. It weighs a
Oh,
little bit, but my body reorganizes to bear that subtle weight of the essentials.
yes. And you can
Yeah.
feel the weight of the phone transferring into your hand. Yeah, baby. Okay,
Yeah.
click.
Yeah. And here we are. We should take essential selfie, actually.
I
Let's
guess so.
see.
Yeah, you can call it a sensual selfie. It's like how they say with art. If I call it art, it's art.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it comes because it comes from the ultimate truth that is our subjective experience.
Oh, yeah. It's really interesting to see your image in the phone
Yes.
and to feel pleasure in your body while you're seeing your own image.
Yeah.
That's trippy. I'm
Yeah,
taking the
super
picture.
trippy. Once we have overcome like the self-judgment with the easiometer and this practice, because this is an effective way of being in the moment and creating effective action to actually get what you want, like look sensual in the selfie, so whatever the ex-boyfriend or the colleagues or whatever, so you get your end gaining, but focusing on not the end result first, but acting
The
on
process
the process.
of the next thing. So it's very important that it's exactly the next thing,
Okay.
just in the immediate future, that you're going to do.
Yes, you mentioned like first is how I reach to the phone. It's not even like clicking the button. It's
No.
like, okay, the disposition to reach to the phone, reaching, touching. Oh, away.
Oh.
Then the body responds different. Then
Ooh, you look fabulous.
thank you. It's even better.
I mean, you look like you're having fun. Yeah. And
Yeah,
yeah, you
yeah.
know,
I think we should all take selfies and post it into this sensual session like comment space.
send it to Candia when you
Yes,
after you listen.
send me the pictures and then I post our sensual pictures, because I think it's important to use the judgmental mind to trap it and get curious about it, like, oh, maybe I'm too banal for wanting to look sensual in a selfie and posting it, and what about is if actually that's what I want, and if I'm banal, am I banal, what does it mean to me, and for like really creating that curiosity space. And I think that's the key also for creativity, because
Yes.
yes,
This is radical. And actually, I just had a revelation. So before we close,
yes, share the revelation and your
I,
story.
th- I think where I come from
Yes,
as a woman, raised by a really smart woman who was shamed for being smart,
yes,
that I had a lot of end gaining around being smart.
yes, yeah, blessed our generation, but
What my mother went through, I just I just don't even know the humiliations that previous generation of women suffered
for being I get the goosebumps again, even
just for being smart.
just
So
for being smart. Let's not say for being sensual as a woman, like today, like we are a little bit more respected for being like the boss and wearing the pants or being self-sufficient and etc. we're not so ashamed. But then when we want to, like, oh, yes, this is me, like, fully.
Then they call us a dumb broad.
Yes, to say the least.
And so it is hard to access. It's cute, for me to say, "Your stupid brain."
Yes.
And this is weird to say, but I feel myself as a sexy person, but I don't think of myself as a sexy person.
You're
It's interesting.
a sexy person.
Thank you. And so I say things like that. And for years, I think I have a little bit of a personality that I project that is more Pied Piper and a little bit less sensual, The stupid brain was really hard for me to become friends with because I learned to be so fierce about my intelligence.
Yeah, and to defend it, because that is actually, we are lucky to have to come from mothers or matriarch that are smart and fight for that aspect of their identity. We are lucky to have that in this world. And then, like, embracing the stupid brain when you're so smart and that has protected you. How can you find the safety for being in the stupid brainness and actually get creative?
Well, I'll tell you where you can find it before we end, because I have to end. But that's what I do in my dance class.
Yeah.
That's what I do in my dance class.
Tell us how to go to your dance class.
I have a dance class. It's so geeky and nerdy, and I have all these embodiment practices that I pull from, but I never know what I'm going to do because I just follow my stupid brain when I'm teaching. So I never know what I'm going to do, and it's really fun. And I have dancers, ex-dancers. I have other people who know nothing about dance and nothing about anatomy. They just want to feel good and move. So we move, we play music, but you always learn something in the class.
Wonderful.
And it's every Tuesday at 9 o'clock in the morning. And it's very affordable.
Eastern time.
Eastern time.
So it's 8 a.m. Central Time, Mexico City. Great. And if you live in LA, Pacific time, it says
you have to get up really early.
Yeah,
it's a little too early for those people.
Yeah, but it's, if you have to go into the office at 8 a.m., it's wonderful to have some enjoyment, pleasure at your dance class.
You could even do it in your office before if you're still going to an office, you could still do it there.
Yeah, with the door closed and locked without anybody knowing what you're doing. Wonderful. How can we all go to your class? Tell us.
You can find it on my website.
I'll post the link below.
She'll post the link, and it's under for learners.
Okay.
So anybody who wants to learn from me, there's a lot of ways, but that's one way. And also, you'll have the direct link to the class, so don't worry about that.
Check it.
Yeah, that's it.
Click on that link and go learn and dance more with Clare Maxwell. Thank you so much. This has been.
You are brilliant, Candia. I love your podcast.
Thank you so much. I am so happy to have you here. See you soon. And for you that are watching, remember to know your fire, your sensuality, so you can share the flame. See you next time. Thank you. Bye.